Shalom Aleichem. We want to learn today, Bezrat Hashem, the obligations of women in tefillah. What are they obligated? What are they not? Although by men it's pretty clear. Men know exactly what they're obligated and when they're obligated, when they're exempt, and what to do and what not to do. By women, it's very much not clear to many, and therefore we need to put things in order and organize it so women should know when and what they are obligated to do when it refers to tefillah. Let's start from the very basic, and that's Birkot Hashachar. First, let's give an introduction that's going to lead us through this class, Be'ezrat Hashem. There is a machloket whether women can say the brachot, those that are referred to as Birkot of Kriat Shema and Birkot of Psukei Dezimra, which is Baruch She'amar and Ishtabach. Should they say those? Are they allowed to say it? They're not allowed to say it? They're obligated to say it? So there's a machloket like this. We all know that there is something called mitzvot aseh she'azman grama, which means mitzvot that are bound to time. Women are exempt from mitzvot aseh she'azman grama. Any mitzvah that is bound to time, women are exempt from doing it. She could do it, and if she does it, she gets rewarded for it, but she doesn't have to do it. Therefore, if a woman comes to do it, should she say the bracha, or she shouldn't say the bracha? Tosfot in Rosh Hashanah Lamed Daled asked the question: how could she say the bracha for such a mitzvah? Because they say Asher kitshanu b'mitzotav v'tzivanu. Let's say she wants to shake the lulav, so she says the bracha on shaking the lulav, on netilat lulav. How could she say such words? Because Hashem never commanded her to shake the lulav. So how could she say Asher kitshanu b'mitzotav v'tzivanu? Hashem commanded us for the mitzvah of shaking the lulav. It's not true. It's a lie. Hashem never commanded you. Then Tosfot gives an idea like this. He says that when they say Asher kitshanu b'mitzotav v'tzivanu, she doesn't mean herself personally or women as a group, but rather as Klal Yisrael. Hashem, they are included in Klal Yisrael, and therefore Asher kitshanu b'mitzotav refers to Klal Yisrael. Hashem commended Klal Yisrael of doing those mitzvot, although the mitzvot aseh she'azman grama, and she could say the bracha. This is a subject of a machloket. The Rambam argues, he says, that women should not say the bracha, the birkot of mitzvot aseh she'azman grama. They should not say it. They're not allowed to say it. It's considered like a bracha levatala. And Lemaaseh, the Shulchan Aruch and the Rama were argued on this very machloket in Ilchot Kriat Shofar. According to Shulchan Aruch, women should not say the bracha of Kriat Shofar. If they hear it, fine, but they should not say it. And a man that blows the shofar, especially for them, should not say it for them, because they are not obligated to hear the Kriat Shofar. Although some say that they accepted upon themselves to hear the shofar, but they're not obligated. According to the Ashkenazim, the Rama brings down that they could say the bracha. Same thing would be over here. When we come to the brachot of, let's say, Psukei Dezimra, Baruch She'amar Ishtabach, should they say the bracha, since it's only a certain time that they could say that bracha, Baruch She'amar and Ishtabach, goes on Psukei Dezimra. And it's only up to 4 hours of the day, just like the tefillah, because Psukei Dezimra is part of the tefillah. It's preparation the tefillah. This is how Bustanai Gaon brings down, the two brings him down, that it's a preparation for tefillah. So just like tefillah has time that you can pray, that's up to the 4th hour of the day, and if you lost that time, you can go up to midday, but not after that. So is Psukei Dezimra is said only before tefillah. The poskim say that one doesn't need to say it after tefillah if he didn't say it before tefillah. Some even are so strict, according to Kabbalah, they shouldn't say the Psukei Dezimra after tefillah. So therefore, the brachot have a time. Do we say that since it has a time, women also go under that machloket, Sfaradim and Ashkenazim, whether they're allowed to say it or not? Chacham Ovadia says yes. Just like we found that Psukei Dezimra, just like we found that mitzvot aseh she'azman grama, they should not say, they're not allowed to say the brachot, same thing would be over here. But some argued on him. The Or LeTzion and Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach say, no, that's a different category of brachot, because there's different categories in brachot. there's a category called Birkot HaMitzvot. There's another category called Birkot HaShavach VeHonah. Birkot HaMitzvot is whenever you do a mitzvah, you say first, Asher Kitshanu Mitzvotav V'tzivanu, let's say, La'aniach Tefillin, because Tefillin is a mitzvah. For that, we have an idea called Mitzvot Aseh Shezman Kama. But when we're dealing with Shavach VeHoda'ah, praising HaKadosh Baruch Hu, thanking HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's a different category of bracha, and therefore for such things, women are allowed to say the brachot. When Chachamim restricted us from doing things and saying the brachot, well, that was for the mitzvah aseh she'azman gama, it's mitzvot, and not when we praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'shvach v'hoda'ah. So we found the machloket over here. Chacham Ovadia answered back. He had letters back and forth with Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. Each one stick to his opinion. So l'maisa over here, we have a machloket where the women should say Baruch She'amar with Shem Hashem, and Ishtabach with Shem Hashem, and Birkot Kriat Shema with Shem Hashem, because that also has time up to 4th hour of the day. They're allowed to say Shem Hashem. According to Chacham Ovadia, they could say it, but when it gets to Baruch Atah Hashem, when you say Hashem, that you shouldn't say, but rather you should think about it and just skip and go to the bracha without saying Hashem name. Hashem Elokeinu, that you skip. According to the Or Letzion and Rav Shlomo Zalman, you could say it. It's not a problem at all. For Sfaradim, Ashkenazim definitely are to say those brachot with Shem Hashem. That's how it comes out. Also, Mishnah Berurah says, same idea, that women should say the brachot, although they have certain time to it. Okay? What about the Birkot HaShachar? Birkot HaShachar, says Chacham Ovadia, 1 minute. Also, it's time. It's up to a certain time of the day. It's Birkot HaShachar. It's the morning brachot. How could they say Birkot HaShachar? Women do say Birkot HaShachar. How could they say Birkot HaShachar? It has the same problem with sticking to time. That's only for the morning. Says Chacham Ovadia, no. We posek, like the Gra, Ben Ish Chai brings, that Birkot HaShachar could be said the whole day. Mimele, it doesn't have time. There's no time limit to it. A person could say the whole day. Really, there's a machloket. According to Sefer Derech HaChaim, he says the Birkot HaShachar should be said up to 4th hour of the day. According to Rav Shlomo Kluger, it's midday. And according to others, as we mentioned, Ben Ish Chai and the Gra and others, the mitzvah of the Birkot HaShachar could be said the whole day. And this is how Chacham Ovadia sticks to that idea. He says that since you say the whole day, a woman may say Birkot HaShachar with Hashem's name regularly. Okay? Now, when we come to the brachot for Psukei Dezimra, we already mentioned that Baruch She'amar and Ishtabach are brachot for Psukei Dezimra. And since they have a time, as we explained, that Psukei Dezimra is a preparation for tefillah, and therefore tefillah has a certain time. You can't pray the whole day. In Siman Peitet it's brought down that Zman Tefillah, he says, Nimshach Zmana at Sof 4 shot, Shlish Hayom. The Zman of Tefillah, the time to pray, is only up to 4th hour of the day. And if a person missed that, Im Ta'ar Avar, Vitpalel Achar 4 shot at Chatzot, so then he still fulfills the obligation of tefillah, although it's not in the right time. Okay, so therefore, the tefillah preparation also is up to 4th hour of the day, and the brachot should be said only up to that time. So therefore, the Psukei Dezimra is, according to the Ashkenazim, should be said with the brachot of Baruch She'amar and Ishtabach. According to Sfaradim, the poskim, the Chida brings, Chacham Ovadia, Or Letzion, Sfaradim are not obligated to say Psukei Dezimra. It's an obligation, it's a good thing, it's a nice thing. A woman should try to say it, but is she obligated? She's not obligated. And therefore, the Ishtabach and the bracha beforehand, Baruch She'amar, also, she's not obligated to say. May she say it? We already explained, that's a machloket Chacham Ovadia and the Or Letzion. May she say it with Hashem's name? She wants to say it without Hashem's name. Chacham Ovadia also agrees, as we explained before, you just think about Hashem's name and you continue, and you can say Psukei Dezimra and continue from there on. But again, Ashkenazim should say the Psukei Dezimra. This is how the Mishnah Berurah brings down. He lists all those things in Siman Kuf Vav and in Siman Ayin. When we finish the Bracha of Ishtabach, we start the Birkot Kriat Shema. Now, over here is an interesting thing. Kriat Shema, it says in Siman Ayin in Shulchan Aruch, women are exempt from. נשים פטורות מקריאת שמע מפני שהיא מצוות עשה שהזמן גרמה. קריאת שמע has a time. When is it? בשוכבך ובקומך. The Kriat Shema of the morning is said only in the morning. Women can't say after, even men. The mitzvah itself of Kriat Shema has time to it. As it says in Siman Nunchet in Shulchan Aruch, זמן קריאת שמע עד סוף 3 שעות שהוא רביע היום. The time to say Kriat Shema is up to 3 hours of the day. And therefore, it's mitzvah to say shazman gaman. This is a mitzvah mideoraita. The Torah limits it to only the morning because it says b'shochbecha. It's in the morning only. And therefore, such a thing women are exempt from. It's mitzvah to say shazman gaman. Still, although they're exempt, it says in Siman Ayin, nachon she'ekablu aleim ol malchut shamayim. It's correct, although they're exempt, to say Kriat Shema, although they're exempt. Now, when it comes to the Birkot Kriat Shema, since they're exempt from Kriat Shema, they're exempt also from the Birkot before Kriat Shema. ופטורות גם כן מברכות Kriat Shema, says the Mishnah ברורה in סימן עין סעיף קטן ב', יש להם גם כן זמן קבוע. They also have a limit of time, which is the 4th hour of the day. Kriat Shema is up to 3 hours of the day. Birkot Kriat Shema is up to 4 hours of the day, as it says in סימן נ"ח סעיף ו'. The Shulchan Aruch says over there, אף על פי שזמנה נמשך עד סוף השעה השלישית, time of Kriat Shema is up to 3 hours of the day. אם עברה שעה שלישית ולא קרא, קורא אותה בברכותיה כל שעה רביעית שהוא שליש היום. The Birkot Kriat Shema could be said up to 4th hour of the day. And therefore, just like they're exempt from Kriat Shema, they're also exempt from the Birkot from before Kriat Shema because it's limit to a certain time and not afterwards. That is the Birkot before Kriat Shema. But the Birkot of after Kriat Shema, Emet v'Yatziv, says the Mishnah Berurah, women should say. Why? Because over there there's Chirat Mitzrayim, remembering Yetziat Mitzrayim. And therefore, that's an obligation that women are also obligated with. And since they already say it with the Bracha, they should continue also from there to the Tefillah, being Somech Geula LeTefillah, which means attaching Ga'al Israel to the tefillah of Hashem Sfatai Tiftach. You have to say the bracha of Ga'al Israel and right away start Hashem Sfatai Tiftach for the tefillah. This is true for Ashkenazim. Sfaradim, as we explained, are different because they're not obligated, as we explained, from the Birkot Kriat Shema, not before and not after, and they're also not obligated to be Somech Geula LeTefillah. Women are not obligated in that idea, although they should, it's a good thing, but they're not obligated. And also, even if they do, we said there's a machloket over here, Chacham Ovadia and Or Letzion, if they may say the brachot, or they're not allowed to say the brachot. According to Chacham Ovadia, since the Birkot Kriat Shema also have time to the day, therefore they shouldn't say the bracha, they should skip Hashem's name. Therefore, you'll see many sidurim for Ashkenazim, for women, sidurim for women that follow Chacham Ovadia Psakim, they skip the Shem Hashem in their Sidur, in those things. So that's something that one needs to keep in mind. And now we come to the din of tefillah. Din of tefillah doesn't have time. It's mitzvah to say, shelo zman gama. It's not bound to time. Why is that? Because when the Torah commands us to pray, va'avatem et Hashem Elokechem, you should work Hashem. How is that? Because it says, ul ovdo bechol levavchem. One should work with his heart. Chachamim ask, how do you work with your heart? A person works, labor is with the hands, labor is, you can work with your mouth, speaking to somebody. There's all ways, different ways of how to work, but you work with your heart. Ezu avodah shebalev zoi tefillah. Working with the heart is intending your heart, and that refers to praying to Hashem. And therefore, we learn from here that tefillah is the oraita. It's a mitzvah to say, min haTorah. Good. Now that we know that, we need to know that there's machloket rishonim, whether a person should pray every day or not. According to the Rambam, a person needs to pray every day because the Torah says so, as we just explained. But according to Ramban, the pasuk is only referring to a person that is in a crisis. He has a problem. He has something that doesn't go well. It's called etzara, tefillah be'etzara. That is according to the Ramban. And praying every day, it's only midivrei sofrim. Chachamim established that a person should pray every day, but it's not min haTorah. min Torah is only when he has problems, when he has something serious. Therefore, the Shulchan Aruch that says the halacha, he brings that women are obligated because we are posek like the Rambam. Actually, this is machloket Magen Avraham and the Taz. If we posek like the Rambam or the Ramban, does the Shulchan Aruch speak on the Doraita level or the Rabbanan level? But the way the Mishnah Berurah understands it is that it is talking about on the Doraita level. Women are obligated in tefillah, unlike Kriat Shema, and this is what it says in the Shulchan Aruch Ziman Kufvav. Kol ha'pturim mikriat Shema, pturim mitfilah. Everybody that's exempt from Kriat Shema also exempt from praying tefillah. Tefillah always refers to tefillat Shmoneh Esrei, tefillat ha'amidah. And that is with an exemption for women. שאף על פי שהם חייבים בקריאת שמע, נשים ועבדים, אף על פי שהם פטורים מקריאת שמע, חייבים בתפילה מפני שהיא מצוות עשה שלא הזמן גרמה. Women, although they are exempt from קריאת שמע, as we explained before, they are still obligated in תפילה because it's not bound to time, it's מצוות עשה שלא הזמן גרמה. says the משנה ברורה, הואיל והיא מדברי סופרים, ועוד שהיא בעמידה, אבל קריאת שמע, עיקר כוונתה ועמידתה אינה אלא בפסוק ראשון. אוקיי? Now, he explains, שהיא מצוות עשה. כל זה לדעת הרמב"ם. This goes according to the Rambam opinion. שרק זמני התפילה הם מדברי סופרים. The Rambam holds like this. תפילה, the obligation of to pray is מדאורייתא. The Torah obligated us. But the Torah did not obligate us what to say, in what language to say, and when to say. And this was all established by דברי סופרים, אנשי כנסת הגדולה. That's what he explains. עיקר מצוות עשה מן התורה שנאמר לא עבדו בכל לבבכם וזו עבודה שהיא בלב, זוהי תפילה. אלא שאין לה נוסח ידוע מן התורה. The Torah didn't give us the way to say it. What is the נוסח? What are the words we should say? יכול להתפלל בכל נוסח שירצה. מן התורה, you could pray and say whatever you want. ובכל עת שירצה, and whenever you want. ושיתפלל פעם אחת ביום ובלילה, יצא ידי חובתו. Once you prayed, one time a day, you don't need more than one time a day midat Torah. One time a day, you said something, you said a request from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in your language and in your own words, you are exempt and you fulfilled your obligation. כתב המגן אברהם שעל פי סברה זו, נהגו רוב אנשים שאין מתפללים 18 בתמידות שחר וערב. According to that, since midat Torah, again, with the Rabbanan, of course, Chachamim established first times for tefillah, and a structure of how to do the tefillah, what comes before, what comes after, and what to say in the tefillah. But midat Torah, it's not so. And therefore, when we come to women, women have that basic obligation to pray morning or any time during the day and say whatever they want. One request in their own language and in their own words, and they fulfill their obligation according to this. says המגן אברהם, על פי זה נהגו רוב אנשים שאין מתפללים 18 בתמידות שחר וערב, לפי שאומרות מיד בבוקר סמוך לנטילה איזה ברכה או בקשה, ומן התורה יוצאות בזה, ואפשר שאף חכמים לא חייבו יותר. says המגן אברהם, women are relying on this idea, and therefore they say one request during the day, and with that they fulfill their obligation. This is how we hold like the Rambam. אבל that הרמב"ן, remember Ramban holds that the tefillah is not midoraita unless it's etzara, and therefore the tefillah on daily basis it's completely the Rabbanan. מדברי סופרים, עיקר מצוות תפילה היא מדברי סופרים שהם עשי כנסת הגדולה שתקנו את חטא ברכות על הסדר, להתפלל אותם שחרית ומנחה חובה וערבית רשות. So therefore, according to that, the obligation for praying that Chachamim established was for men and women alike, and therefore women are obligated to pray shacharit and some say shacharit and mincha. They are obligated to pray that in their exactly the way that Chachamim established, in the words that Chachamim said we should say, the way we have it in the Siddur, and therefore this obligation of women would be the same, similar as obligation for men. But although that is really the halacha, women should pray shacharit and try to pray mincha as well, whether they are Sfaradim or Ashkenazim. But the poskim in our time say that a woman that doesn't have any time, she's extremely busy taking care of a family, of the kids, of the husband, of the house, they are exempt from praying because this idea of taking care of the house comes first. And therefore the patur, even they bring down from the Chafetz Chaim that told his wife she should not pray because she's taking care of the house, taking care of the children. As long as she's there for the children and taking care of them, she's exempt and she shouldn't pray. She should take care of them first. And therefore, a woman should put these things in perspective. Although the mitzvah of tefillah is extremely important, and it's deoraita, and she's obligated in it, but that is only if she has some time. But if she's consistently taking care of the house, wakes up in the morning, and right away busy with the children, there's no time for her to pray at all. And right after that, she runs to work to bring a little bit parnasah to the house, or whatever it is, and then she comes back, she just doesn't have any time, then the house comes first. But if a woman could find a little bit time, of course she needs to put that time in order to pray. Praying is extremely important, especially that today, although people are very, very busy, but during the day you see that they have some times to talk to their friends, a little bit on the phone, a little bit in person. They have time to read their text and answer and waste a little bit time on that. So if they have time for that, obviously they have time to pray, and therefore they should really understand that praying is extremely important. If there's not complete time to do all of the things that we said before, so at least Shmoneh Esrei, that's the most important. But again, according to the minimum obligation for a woman that has the time, for Ashkenazim they should say Psukei Dezimra with Birkot, Baruch She'amar, and Ishtabach, and then, although it's not an obligation to say the bracha before Kriat Shema and Kriat Shema, but they should try to say it. And then afterwards, the bracha that continues after Kriat Shema, women, Ashkenazi women should say it and be somer gula letfilah and pray Shmoneh Esrei. Sfaradim have much less obligation. What they should say is either say the Birkot of Psukei Dezimra that we explained with bracha or not bracha. That's already the machloket we explained. And Psukei Dezimra is also something that they're not obligated. All these things, the brachot of Psukei Dezimra, Baruch She'amar and Ishtabach, they're not obligated. The question is only, again, if they are to say it if they want to, or they may not say it even if they want to, but they're not obligated. And also Psukei Dezimra, they're not obligated. Also, Kriat Shema, we explained, they're not obligated. The brachot of before and after, they're also not obligated. And if they want to say them, Kriat Shema, they should say, Melamdim otam le'omo. The Shulchan Aruch says, and should she say the brachot before and after? That's already, we explained, it's a machloket. And therefore, the real obligation would be tefillah. For Sephardi women, if she really doesn't have time, she should say the tefillah Shmoneh Esrei, which doesn't take much time, and with that at least she takes care of the minimal obligation. But again, if she doesn't even have time for that, because she's consistently busy with taking care of her house, that comes first.